All right, let's keep moving. So another big, great news that came out this morning is that they've now released that they have sold 75,842 cars in April in China. So this is a nice table here that shows the typical sales of I think they're wholesale sales, and you can see that in April this is a record April that's ever done, and so it's looking quite good here. Um, this is I showed this picture just because I kind of like seeing this, just to see the how the one of the retail stores in China look like, and they're just look at that. That's so gorgeous. I love it. It's almost Apple-esque stuff, right? They need to
Oh,
do more of
sure.
this. It's beautiful. And then when you look at the insurance data out of China, it indicates sales of 41,000 for April. This is a clear new best first month of the quarter. And this is a nice table that we love to look at that Pillily shows a lot. And you can see that in the green, that's the first month of the quarter. And then the orange is the second month, and the red is the third month of every quarter. And if you look at the green for the first month, which is April, it is higher than any other April ever. This is sales in China. So it's looking like we're going to do quite well this year, this quarter. So far, we'll see. The first quarter month, anyways, is down pat. What's your thoughts, Brian?
So there's a couple different things we're looking at here. We're looking at a few different charts that are measuring a few different things a few different ways. So if
Okay.
the numbers don't feel like they line up, it's because the first one was measuring. Uh, so one of them measures just Chinese made cars, Chinese made
Yeah.
Teslas.
Okay.
And if it says that the ones that were built and sold, I don't know if they count as sold if they're still in transit to Europe. So that's why it could be higher than it appears. That's why the number in the last quarter last month would look higher. One of the other ones said this is just how many registrations in China, but that also includes the Model S and maybe X, but definitely the S, which isn't made in China but is being sold in China, and that could be big numbers. That could be a whole boatload of them for all we know, and it could be at a fantastic margin, a literal boatload. That's how they ship them.
Literally a
Uh,
Volo. That's what I was going to say.
yeah. And so, in any case, the numbers they may feel like they're inconsistent. They're not. They are measuring different things in different ways. But across the board, all of those are hopeful signs to me. All of them point to better sales, better uh, market acceptance, and the fear. Interest rates are high. The recession is in effect already globally. Buying power is limited, and Tesla is still kicking butt. And the, a lot of the other guys don't have margin to reduce. They don't have levers to pull, and Tesla still has more levers to pull. In addition to just pricing, they could start advertising. They could do supercharger credits. They could do a referral program. They could add new colors like they did for the European market. There's a lot of ways that Tesla still has room to hold on to market share and expand it as the factory, as fast as the factory can build new cars.
Well, that's a good point, actually, because there was another bit of news this morning that I did not pull up, which is Tesla released a new color, the dark cherry red. So whenever they do something like that, right, that's just another wave of new sales because of something not being offered. It's a very simple change, but can be done quite easily. What's surprising
Now, is that
to
different
me,
than the one in Germany? Is that different than the one in Germany?
I don't know. It was actually Tesla.com, and they're saying that
Hmm.
this is a new variant, a new color. I didn't look into it too much. It's probably the one
Okay.
in Germany. But in China, like it's the S and X that they raise the prices. These are the most expensive, and so it's like, okay, is there a demand issue? Is there a recession? Maybe is that we'll see what happens, but looking pretty good.
It hits different parts of the market differently. Um, and it's entirely possible that while there is a recession for the middle class, that it's not necessarily impacting those who would make a $100,000 to $300,000 automotive purchase.
Yeah.
If it's a choice between a Bentley and a Tesla, you're still going to get a better deal on the Tesla.
Yeah. But they lowered the price of those same cars just a few months ago. So it's a variable pricing. They raise and lower it. They could still lower it. So this notion that people think that once they've done it, they should stay the same for a long time. That's not the way Tesla works. But it's nice to see that they're using all these different things like the free supercharger. And the other thing that they do differently in China that They're not quite yet doing it in the US, and I'd be curious to think why you think this is, but they do quite a bit of marketing in China. And so this is an example of what they do. It says here, they're ramping up their marketing presence in China. And one significant distinction is that, obviously, unlike Ford and Chevy and Jeep and BMW and all that, Tesla does not do Super Bowl ads or any kind of traditional marketing mediums here. And of course, many people, investors have been, talking about the advertising debate for a long time. What they do in China, one example is that earlier this week, for example, Tesla appeared at this temple. And so at the event, the automaker brought vehicles for potential customers to interact with and also showed off a prototype of the Optimus robot. They set up fun games and activities for children to play. This is at a temple. I'm sure it's like an event that's happening, and they were there. I mean, that's wonderful. It's not just the cars, but the prototype of the robot. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like what other car maker can do that except maybe Hyundai, right? But it's
Sure.
just it's a great branding. And then another example was published in the social media website Weibo. They showed off much of the same at a marketplace, in Xi'an, China. So, Xi'an, China. So it's great, right?
Yeah. In
What?
in the European market, they do the same thing. When I was at Fully Charged, Tesla had a booth. They were offering test drives, official Tesla test drives. It wasn't just the owners club. Now, the UK Owners Club also had uh, an area, and they had their favorite member cars on display with beautiful wraps and customized features and whatnot. But the Tesla stand itself was there. I bought a plaid mug. It's very cool, and it was neat to see. And if you wanted to test drive a Mach E, there was no line. If you wanted to test drive a Tesla, of which there were substantially more, the line was 30, 40 people deep. It was just a little loop there on the near the runway but it was great. And because especially with Tesla having a lot more competition in the European market, where
Mhm.
there are 20, 30 EVs, all competent, capable vehicles on offer, it's something that they definitely should be doing. And I would certainly like to see some degree of marketing, if not advertising, but marketing generally. So you remember when track mode came out? All the Tesla held an official day. They brought out a bunch of people who could make videos about it, who could check it out, who could basically promote the heck out of it. And that was a several $1,000 upgrade that a lot of people were able to get to basically just make their cars more valuable. That's the kind of marketing I think we should have in all markets. They've got things like it, as we just discussed in China, in the European Union. Yeah, so I think that's something that we may expect to see more of. And we've already seen more videos coming from Tesla officially in the US, which leads me to believe that that might be something that they've already got underway.
Okay. Hey, Brian, since we're talking about China and you're the factory guy who knows everything about it, tell me about Giga Shanghai. How's it going at this point? What do you know about the shifts? What do you know about the kind of just in general, the production level and where they're headed at this point?
So where they're at is essentially maxed out. They are, as far as I can tell, running all shifts all week, which means 4 shifts basically. They often, yeah, will do longer shifts, but so it's running 24/7, not quite 365 because of holidays. So the numbers we've been seeing in recent quarters are close to the top. There's always a little more efficiency you can squeak out, but that's going to be about it. We're not going to see a big jump until they make a fundamental change in the way the cars are built, be it Highland, be it revisions to the Model Y, or be it a whole new vehicle. But I suspect a whole new vehicle would more likely be made in a whole new building, which we haven't seen them break ground
Okay. So you're pretty happy with its production. Anything that's coming up in the next quarter? Anything new?
Not that I'm aware of. We still believe that there's strong possibility that they will get around to starting a Highland type revision for the Model 3 in China, which
Yep.
would increase production. It would shorten the distance between the front door and the back door. And doing that makes more room for production, makes it faster, makes it cheaper, makes it easier, makes the margin better, or gives room to leave the to drop the price and keep the margin. That's the thing we're looking for in China is that the biggest thing they've done recently is they finally outfitted the roof with solar panels, and they put in a ton, something like 2/3 to 3/4 of the entire factory is now covered in solar panels, and they went up very quickly, maybe 3 4 weeks it took. So that's
How
exciting.
will you how will you know if they're actually started with the Project Highland? Is there like do you have an insider that might tell you this? Is there some sort of drone footage you're looking for?
So no, the I don't have any contacts in China, and they don't keep their castings outside. Wherever they put them, they're hidden inside somewhere. So we don't get to see the scrap. We don't get to see
Mhm.
the stockpile or any new castings coming out. So what? And it's unless they do an exterior revision as well, it's entirely possible that the Highland could already be out. If it's just the structural front and rear casting and the structural battery pack, it could already be out and we wouldn't even know it because nobody bothered to peel back the carpet to see what's under there. Nobody bothered to look inside the wheel well. Or if
Mhm.
they did, they posted it on a social media platform that doesn't get big exposure outside of China, and it just fell through the cracks. But I hope somebody like Ray for Tesla would catch that if it does show up on other social media. So we'll be on the lookout. But for now, Shanghai
Outstanding.
is
Yeah.
the footprint of the built of the site is maxed out,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look like there's any major construction going on or any room for major construction.